tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day. If you don't wear green, I'm going to come through that camera and pinch you. Hi, wanted to look at the newest comment I got on my videos. Let's see what we've got. I made that video yesterday, which is funny because I thought it was a little bit meandering, but people were responding to it as if it's not meandering, so that works out. The video I'm referring to is called Good Hair, Gray Hair, Gone Hair. And our good friend Dan Bobs had this to say, quote, "Nick, my dear friend, your hair looks a lot darker in this video. I also like to trim my body hair. It's often frowned upon to do so, especially here in the UK, as it's not, quote, manly, end quote. I hate my body hair. Nice to keep it trimmed, in my opinion," end quote. Now, there's another comment on the same vein. Now, what's funny is I typically don't watch my videos after I record them and release them. So apparently I mentioned body hair in that video. I didn't realize that, but apparently I did. I think I mentioned having a beard and having the connection between it. That must have been what it was. Okay, so we've got a new commenter and someone who's never commented to my knowledge here. I hate it when my white t-shirt shows through. That bothers me. I typically don't wear white t-shirts. That feels too much like just real underwear instead of just an under t-shirt. So I'm going to guess on how to pronounce this name. Blow Ranger Tiger MSP. Who knows what that means? But it doesn't even matter. Because here's all this person said. Quote, "How do you shave your chest? Show us," end quote. Well, that's a bit forward. It's a bit forward, don't you think? Well, so this is, I'm happy to make this video, by the way. This is great. Let me start with the most recent one. How do I shave my chest? Show us. I simply get my clippers and I take off the guard and I stand in front of the bathroom mirror and I just put it directly on my skin and I go in strips like this is how I do it. And I do it probably like once every 2 or 3 months. So I do it, 3 or 4 times a year. I'm not going to show you just because, I don't know, I feel weird about having my shirt off in videos. That just seems a little too excessive for what this channel's about. But if you really want to see me without a shirt on one of my videos, I do it in one of my videos. And no one's ever seen it except for probably like 12 people. But I had a video. If you go to my channel and put this in the search box, type in Naughty Nick Whirlpool. I think that'll pull it up. Naughty Nick Whirlpool. It's one that I filmed in Los Angeles last October, and it is featuring my alter ego. So that'll be a little treat if you can find that. Okay, now back to Dan Bob, though, who kind of started this conversation. And he's talking about how trimming your body hair is sort of frowned upon in the UK, and how it's not considered manly to trim your body hair. Yeah, I like this topic. This is very relevant for what we do here because, again, I am always aware of the perceived relationship between those of us who find it easier to grow facial hair and body hair, and the relationship in which I believe the theory that we're also therefore more likely to lose our hair at an earlier age. I believe in the theory. I don't believe it's always the case by any means. Kenny Rogers. But then I bet Robert, who comments on every video I ever make, will probably say, "Well, Nick, Kenny Rogers actually has had a hair transplant." So yes. But my point is, we can think of exceptions to the rule by all means. Now, let's address the fact that, is it considered less manly here in America? It would be my question. I would argue that despite the cowboy persona that perhaps America is seen by from the foreign countries in the world, from overseas in Europe, if nothing else, I would actually speculate it's definitely more accepted here to trim your body hair. I think as Americans, I think we've adopted a little bit more of the Italian perspective on it. That it's definitely okay. I mentioned the Italian perspective a couple days ago, saying how the Italian point of view is that as a man, it's actually respected, an honorable thing to do to look at yourself in the mirror when you're in the bathroom, make sure you look nice and presentable. And in my mind, in the same way, the Italian way of doing things is that, yes, when it comes to body hair, you want to keep that under control. You don't want to go Magnum PI on everybody if you don't have to. And it's, imagine this perfect man who has just enough body hair to say he has it, but also has a full head of hair and can also grow a beard. That would be a rare combination. I'm sure there are people like that exist, but I think for the most part, you're either hairy and have to trim your body hair, or if you don't, you should. I mean, do whatever you want to. It's just, for me personally, I can't and won't just grow out my body hair. In fact, I've been dealing with this probably since like age 15. I've been dealing with this, as far as like, you know what, this is just too much body hair, and I'm going to tone it down. And so of course it only gets worse the older you get. The more hair on top of your head you lose, the more hair you grow everywhere else on your body, which that is referenced in the movie Jack, starring Robin Williams, which came out in 1996. So I'm sorry to hear that in the UK it's frowned upon or seen less manly, but I don't know. For me, it's pretty much straightforward. If you're so manly that you have that much body hair and you have to tame it, isn't that a sign of masculinity? That's the way I look at it. No shame in body hair trimming by any means. Now, hey, it's completely different if we're talking about somebody going to a spa and getting waxed and all that. We're talking about manly. We're talking about a pair of clippers, the same one that you'll eventually shave your head with once you lose too much hair. That same pair of clippers, taking the guard off and just, that's what we're talking about. So, good talk. I'm glad this came up. I never meant for this to be a topic based on that little thing I said in the video yesterday, but I'm glad it did, because this is very relevant to what we deal with. I assume that most of us who are dealing with hair loss are also dealing with excess body hair. That's just the relationship. That's the pattern. That's the theory that I see. Not always the case, but I think it definitely is relevant to the demographics of the people involved in watching and making this video.